Yes, without question, yesterday was rough. For those that thought there was going to be changes today, there wasn't. We'll certainly talk on that a little bit. And it's getting harder and harder to believe that the Cleveland Browns can trot Dillon Gabriel out there for another start, probably for the rest of this year. Get a little deeper. Browns 3D on the OBR streaming network begins now. Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound Browns 3D on the OBR streaming network. I am your host, Jeff Lloyd. We appreciate each and every one of you coming out to the OBR daily, whether it is for the best Cleveland Browns written content there is. Our team continuously works religiously hard at providing you the best Cleveland Browns coverage there is. So make sure you check that all out while you're at theobr.com. Of course, highly consider that you should check into the Insider package, Insider Forums, Ask the Insiders. And of course, your subscription gets bundled with a subscription to Paramount Plus. And for everybody that continues to support us here at the OBR streaming network every day, beginning at 6 o'clock with Browns 3D, of course, post-game show on Sunday. We are thankful, grateful. Make sure you subscribe to the OBR on YouTube and, of course, over on Twitch. Certainly yesterday, just another difficult day for the Cleveland Browns. And I think that's the thing where kind of everybody is at now. If you thought this team was going to be competitive and successful this year, we apologize to you now for that, of course. Anybody that thought this was a transition year and you were going to maybe get some joy once every couple of weeks, once a month, in regards to victories, I think that's probably where the problem is also lying. Week 1 Bengals game, of course. Game like yesterday, of course. Minnesota in London, of course. You thought there were going to be a few times where you would actually get to experience a W this year, and even those times are really sticking like a thorn in the side, and just making this season a little bit more even difficult to swallow. The effort yesterday defensively was good, obviously. Special teams was lost in the sauce. Offense, for every good play there was, it felt like there were 3 or 4 that weren't. I said this yesterday on the post-game show. This team had a 3rd and 22 yesterday, had 2 3rd and 18s, had 2 3rd and 17s, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 10 numerous times. There's no way a rookie quarterback with all this young skill talent around him is going to succeed. Ideally, in football, you always want to play ahead of the sticks, regardless if you're good offensively or not. That's the theory you want to play. You always want to be able to keep the defense guessing as to what's coming. Having a rookie quarterback who's struggling, and I think it's kind of getting worse at times as it goes on here for Dillon Gabriel. I mean, there were numerous balls yesterday that you were just left scratching your head. I mean, it was all circulating social media today, but I mean, the screen to Malachi Corley, first off, it felt like it took every ounce of strength and effort and energy in Dillon Gabriel's body to even throw that ball. And then the ball was just absolutely atrocious. Malachi Corley most likely would have maybe done a fast jog and gone 60 yards down the sidelines untouched. Killing worms everywhere. Certainly once the weather picked up, there was zero faith in Gabriel to do anything. It's like I've been saying this entire time with Dillon Gabriel. And I'm on record. I was calling for him to start earlier than he did. The thing with Gabriel was everybody knew he was small. Everybody felt mind-wise, intelligent enough, gutsy, gave the effort that was required, all those superlatives. Question was going to be, were the physical limitations going to be too much to overcome at the NFL level? Again, the only way to find out was to actually play him. I think we've seen enough to know that we've seen too much. There is no way that Dillon Gabriel is going to be a starting quarterback in this league, at least anytime soon. There's nothing wrong with Dillon Gabriel being a capable backup within this league. The things I have been very critical in regards to Shedeur Sanders, pocket presence, drifting away from the line of scrimmage, fooling himself into thinking he's got enough athletic ability to out-athlete NFL athletes at the edge position. To be fair, those questions now all exist in the same regard with what we're seeing from Dillon Gabriel and his play. I mean, yes, every now and then a quarterback's going to drop their head down to try to find themselves some open space to get to hopefully throw the ball. He's not finding the open space. He's running to the wrong areas. A lot of those sacks yesterday taken by Dillon Gabriel. And look, I'm not stating here to claim that the offensive line is good, and we'll get to that in a minute. But a lot of those sacks yesterday, Dillon Gabriel is kind of just making the pass rusher's job even easier. There's some sacks he could have avoided yesterday, and that's on him. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about, the late game penalties on Devin Bush, and then, of course, Cam Thomas. Then they were absolutely egregious, terrible, terrible penalties. But I doubt any of us sit here with any breath of confidence that we thought in any way, shape, or form Dillon Gabriel was going to lead the Cleveland Browns on a game-tying or game-winning touchdown drive. So sure, Devin Bush's penalty was bad, and of course Cam Thomas's penalty was bad. Special teams giving up 2 straight returns for scores is absolutely atrocious. This team's, and it's not bad. It's not a bad football team. Offensively, it might be. It's just a team that can't get out of their way, and they can't just do the simplest things right. Continue to have guys lining up improperly, slowing down the process of all the pre-snap stuff. The offensive line. Now, I think we all got, and this is one I kept talking about, and nobody really seemed to want to listen. I think everybody just thought, okay, well, the offensive line, we're going to go back to what they're familiar with. Boys are going to be just fine. It's not the case in any way whatsoever. Jack Conklin was getting abused by younger, more athletic players. The interior is just not creating nearly the running lanes that they used to. Cam Robinson isn't killing you at left tackle. But in the same respect, I doubt anybody's all, giddy about Cam Robinson and the fact that he most likely will be a free agent at the end of the 2025 season. I think the wide receivers are certainly not a good enough group for what hopefully is a competitive team one day. But I think you can also say that we really are in a situation where it's really difficult to give a fair assessment to this group. It's just not enough consistent work that you can really evaluate these guys. And the way the Browns are losing some of these games, you figured you'd be throwing for 350 yards. I mean, go through some box scores every Sunday. Find a team who lost. Look at what the losing quarterback did. And this is where you would think the growth would come from. But there's just not nearly consistent enough quarterback play. It's time for Shedeur. I think that's the only thing that's really going to give this fan base some buzz. And you don't make the decision just to appease the fans. Sorry. And you people out here adding the Browns in tweets, adding D. Haslam's son in these tweets, demanding that people get fired like you're owed something. You are buying a product. And I know a lot of this is coming from season ticket holders. You are buying a product. There is no guarantee what that product is going to be, if it's going to be good or it's bad. I do feel bad for you because I think a lot of you are going to get squeezed right out of the new stadium when it opens. But don't think for a second the Browns care about you. And the Cleveland Browns certainly don't necessarily care about public backlash they've been dealing with forever. And just think, adding the Browns and adding D. Haslam's son is, I don't know, just like ludicrous behavior to me. You play Shedeur because I think Shedeur, and this is the one thing I have been, and I think, others, and I know Pete Smith feels the same way, is the consistency of what we think Shedeur Sanders can do, at least passing the ball, is dwarfing Dillon Gabriel. I thought you could be more competitive with Dillon Gabriel at the quarterback position than Joe Flacco. I'd say maybe that's been true, and you can't base Joe on what he's done in a short time in Cincinnati, obviously. You have to base it on what he did here in Cleveland. But now seeing Dillon Gabriel and his shortcomings, Shedeur's going to throw it a pill. Shedeur's going to push the ball down the field. In no way, shape, or form is Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders, and even if they turned it into freaking Tom Brady for the next 8 games, is that going to be enough for the Browns to consider not using one of these first-round picks in April on a quarterback? That's happening. Ain't nothing these two can do about it. I think playing Shedeur, as much as the guys seem like they like Dillon and they backing Dillon publicly, I don't think either way. I don't think the guys care either way if it's Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders behind a center. It does amaze me sometimes that I think the Browns will just be so stubborn with some things because they don't want to feel like they reacted to public peer pressure or, what others suggest that they think the Cleveland Browns should do. But I think Shedeur Sanders is going to allow you to at least hopefully have these receivers grow a little bit, have you truly evaluate these receivers a little bit. It does crack me up. I see so many mock drafts and like people just give the Browns an offensive tackle and a wide receiver in the first round. What the hell are y'all doing? It like makes zero sense to me. The biggest key for the Cleveland Browns in the next coming weeks in regards to the draft and the quarterback position is that hopefully they are in a position where they don't have to trade both first round picks to get the quarterback. That's the dream scenario. Is that somehow you finish 1, 2, or 3. Mm. Fernando Mendoza played an okay game for about 58 minutes in Happy Valley on Saturday. And then back to the wall, had to have it, 90-something yard drive. I mean, you want to talk about what a guy looks like or what a guy should look like in a pressure situation, in a difficult situation. Undefeated record on the line, the entire season on the line for the Indiana Hoosiers. I mean, and it was money ball after money ball. Dimes, ropes, dots, you name it. The drive had everything you could possibly hope for. The touchdown in the back of the end zone to Cooper to clinch it was just bananas. An amazing effort by that young man. It is hard enough alone to have the body control in that scenario to get a foot down, but then to have the body control where you got the 200-pound guy dragged all over you, basically trying to throw you over that line. The level of special within that catch, I don't think people truly understand. Absolutely amazing. Ty Simpson down at Bama is really, really coming on quickly. And it wasn't a world-beating performance on Saturday night for him. But yes, there were a lot of impressive balls from Ty Simpson. For me, and things I like to use in evaluation and this type of stuff with quarterbacks, Mendoza's going to probably easily have a nod over Ty Simpson. And when I say easily, maybe I don't necessarily mean easily. But Mendoza is going to be a full year younger than Ty Simpson. Mendoza is going to have a full 3 years of playing experience, whereas Ty Simpson is legit really only going to have 1. So most likely for me, Mendoza will be the top guy, the way I view it, and some things that are kind of important to me. The age doesn't necessarily change it one way or the other. If my quarterback is, 23 when I draft him, or he's 23 essentially, pretty sure Mendoza's birthday's early fall. That's not going to make the difference. The playing time, however, and the amount of tape that is out there will certainly carry a big weight for me. Yes, making sure you ended up with the number 1 or number 2 selection would be key. But as Pete and I were talking yesterday, you got a lot of youth on this team right now, of course. And these guys hopefully are going to be the stars of this team going forward. Carson Schwarzenegger, just put a freaking C on his chest. That is what a captain looks like. That is how a captain carries himself. I mean, what did this guy do for 14 days? Basically live in a hyperbaric chamber? Because it basically went from injured in New England, IR, 4 to 6 weeks at best, to not even missing a game. He didn't even miss a play yesterday. He played every single defensive snap yesterday on a bum ankle. It was damn madman. That play late in the fourth quarter where he shot that gap, took out the blocking tight end, hit the tight end, hit the quarterback, hit the running back. He's another level, dude. But you kind of want, these guys to get a little feeling of confidence for themselves. I mean, we're talking about 10, 11, 12 rookies that are contributing. This is the key here, man. I mean, yes, you're hopefully going to ace that draft and everything's going to fall into your lap. And, you can get one of probably, I think it's going to be two quarterbacks of legitimacy at the top where you would want to be to get. And that is, of course, Mendoza and Simpson. But getting these young players feeling good about themselves, succeeding, is absolutely crucial, in my opinion. Just a little taste. Keep the appetite, you know, keep the appetite satisfied that what they're doing is working. Are people getting fired at the end of the year? I'm sure there is some movement coming, but you have to know what your plan is going to be. I don't think you can move on from a head coach after 6 seasons and just say, well, we'll just do the interview process and whoever's the best guy is going to be the best guy. And I know how you all feel about Kevin Stefanski. And yes, it's harder and harder. And even for me, one of the most stout supporters Kevin Stefanski has. I'm not blind. The game day product sucks. But I still think the Browns cannot be a very good football team right now. And that Jimmy Haslam still has a hell of a lot of faith in Kevin Stefanski. I believe both things can be true. I can also believe that none of us maybe agree with that. Could also be a thing where Jimmy Haslam is just sick of it and he wants continuity. He wants, he's sick of doing this. And maybe he believes that, even with, albeit small, sample sizes of success with Kevin at the helm, maybe it speaks volumes that, Jimmy believes that if everything is in place correctly, that this guy can run the ship correctly. It's kind of hard to imagine how that looks when here in year 6, you still have a glaring hole at the quarterback position. Jim Schwartz is here if he wants to be, I'm sure. Bubba Ventrone. Probably seen the last of Bubba Ventrone on the sidelines for the Cleveland Browns in the special teams capacity. And it's been certainly interesting for Ventrone because when he was coming here, man, they all thought this was like, the grooming process for something bigger. Ain't something bigger coming from Bubba Ventrone anytime soon. If you keep telling me Dillon Gabriel is going to start, that's just aggravating and frustrating me. I got to be honest. And yes, it's not fair to me to say, okay, well, we saw Flacco. That sucks. I want to see Gabriel. Okay, that sucks. I want to see Sanders. Because it is, and I said this, of course, if Sanders stinks, which there's a good possibility Shedeur Sanders is going to struggle. Then what's your plan? I don't think any of us need to see Bailey's happy play for the Cleveland Browns again. It's not doing anything at all for the Browns. Do you then, basically say to Dillon Gabriel, oh, hey, we're sorry. Go back out there and take your lickings again. But I think that's the one thing that would give this team at least some eyes and some appeal here over the last 8 weeks of the regular season. People are going to care if Shedeur Sanders is starting for the Cleveland Browns. There's no question about it. And certainly it's hard for any of us to say that he's ready or we think he's ready or he will be ready. Because the fact of the matter is none of us have seen a damn thing from Shedeur Sanders since his preseason finale, which was not good. And I know the Browns are trying to do everything right they can by Shedeur Sanders. But there's only so much that I think can be done in practice. It's got to go find out, got to get on the field, face some live bullets, man. You're going to get the gang of three later, of course. Lane, Barry, Pete Smith. Should be a time. No doubt. It's been a last 24 hours have been tough. And this is it. I mean, again, if you thought this team was only going to win a select amount of games this year, you're getting really pissed off and aggravated when the games they should be competitive in and probably win, they're not. And that's fair. That's right. I'm with y'all. We appreciate all of you, who make it out to the OBR.com. Fred, Pete, Jack, Sam Penix. You guys are all busting their asses, putting out really good stuff every day. And it stinks when it's this time of year and, if the team's not doing well, their hard work doesn't get the eyes that it, essentially deserves. Which please continue to read and support the work at the OBR.com. While you're there looking at the insider package, of course, ask the insiders, insider forums, have your subscription bundle with Paramount Plus, and continue to come break the bread here with us on the OBR streaming network. We take all the aggravation, agitation, and pissed offness, and we listen, and you hear it from us as well. We grieve through this all together. Make sure you subscribe to the OBR on YouTube. Make sure, of course, that you subscribe to the OBR over on Twitch. This has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound Browns 3D on the OBR streaming network. And we will talk to you all tomorrow.